Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Knock On podcast here on Zero Tackle. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of the Knock On podcast. My name is Dan, and I'm your host tonight. If it sounds like I'm excited, I am for two reasons. One, Rugby League is back, and second and foremost, is I am joined tonight by a special guest host. Terry is off enjoying his wonderful holiday in Bali, so my good mate Ron is going to jump on and save the night. Dare I say this is an upgrade, mate? How'd you enjoy your rugby league?
Dan, thank you for the lovely intro. Terry, I do hope you're having a great time over. Where is he? Fiji?
He's in Bali. I'm hoping
Bali?
he comes back, but take your time, mate.
Yes.
Speaking of travels,
Size sample of round one, Daniel, from Las Vegas, live.
and that's exactly where we're going to start today, mate. Vegas, what were your thoughts?
I think it's a great idea. Why not? Helped that one of my teams were playing. I don't know if I would have watched it if the Roosters were playing, but no. I think it's a clever idea. I work in marketing, so I get little gimmicks like this. But the key is you got to keep doing it. You can't just do one off and expect like a massive cultural shift in people who watch the sport over in the States. But now's a good time to do it. They've just had their Super Bowl, so they're probably looking for something to watch. And yeah, but they've got to keep doing it. They've got, it's locked in for 5 years. They're going to do 4 more of these. That's what you got to do.
I think it's a great shout. I was very negative on it. I'm happy to eat a bit of crow. I enjoyed it in terms of there were 4 good sides playing 4 games of football in front of a pretty healthy crowd of 40,000. Whether or not in 3 weeks anyone in America cares, I don't think it's particularly relevant right now. But you're exactly right. The key is this cannot be sweet job done, see you later. They need to go back, and they need to go back, and they need to go back. Do you think they take the same 4 teams, or you think they mix it up, or they just pick the 4 best teams that are available?
Yeah, good question. If you're trying to build a fan base, you probably want to send the same teams back, I guess. But there's no reason why you can't send more teams out.
I think the key is that you have to send, and this is going to upset some people, but that's what I'm here for. You have to send the good teams. With the greatest respects to the Bulldogs and Tigers, if you send them for round 1, we're not talking in such a positive light. I think the 4 teams put on 2 quality games. Round 1 is an absolute schmozzle at times. There's knock-ons aplenty, there's penalties, there's fatigue. I think the smaller field actually helped in that regard because you saw them have to play up the middle. It sort of limited the amount of ball that was going left to right, and I think ultimately that helped the quality of the games. If this had been, even if the Sharks had gone, because we play a boring brand of football, if we'd played the Tigers and had a 14-12 win, I don't think we're talking as positively as we are now. I think they nailed the teams.
Yeah, it's a good shout as well. The Russell Crowe connection with South, that was a little bit clever. If the stars aligned a little bit better, Hugh Jackman would have been there cheering on Manly. Our boy Grayson Waller in the stands cheering on the Roosters. It was a good time. Got a bit of FOMO, I'll be honest. I'll tell you what, people like me, when we think about, I want to go on a holiday, and you base it around like an event, and you know that it's coming up next year, keep a sneaky eye out and make a couple of weeks out of it.
That's a really, really good shout. I was saying to mates at work during the week, I probably wouldn't have gone now if the Sharks had played, just financially, it probably wouldn't make sense. But 10 years ago, I would have been the first person that booked a trip. I think it's a big win, and I think it's here to stay. If they can commit to 5 years, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. You know, I had people who are Aussies living in the States send me messages saying, I can't believe I'm watching rugby league in America right now.
That's so cool.
2 different people from 2 different groups. Like, they don't know each other. But yeah, they were watching rugby league, and the Roosters are like, send Ronnie a message. And I'm like, yeah, you're watching the Roosters. How good.
That's so good. Double thumbs
Make
up.
them believers.
So I'm happy to eat crow there. But, mate, round 1 is over for you as a Roosters fan, but kicks off for the majority of the teams this week with Teamless Tuesday dropping yesterday. If you had a look at the teams, and if so, any surprises, any shock omissions, any plays you look at and think, I wouldn't have gone that way?
I don't know. Anyone that has a Supercoach team was telling me that KO Weeks was going to be lining up for the Raiders this week. Didn't happen.
Got to be.
I want some.
Got the nod.
There you go. It's round 1, right? So I don't know, there's niggling injuries, hence that's why the young fella, sorry, I can't remember his name, the fullback for the Warriors is there. So I'm not. There's not too many surprises on my half. Do you have any?
Look, a few, and yes, I bring this up for this rant. Jake Cavarillo, who was a marquee signing for the Dolphins, has been overlooked for Tessie New. Now, I'm a big fan of Tessie New, and I know Jack Bostock has supposedly had the mother of all off seasons, where we heard that before. Training the house down, I believe, was the exact quote. So I was a little bit shocked that they left Averillo out. When he signed, I thought he and Herbie Farnworth are going to be a superstar centre combination. Bronson Xerri's the other one who's been overlooked for. I know they've kept young Blake Wilson on the wing for the Bulldogs, and they brought Jacob Kiros back into the centres. Both did end the season particularly well, especially Wilson last year. But I mean, I thought Xerri was their best across two pretty handy trial games. So I was a little bit shocked they left those out. And Stephen Crichton has been named at centre, which I was convinced was not going to happen. I thought the try game against the Sharks was a smokescreen. You've got $1 million player there signed to play fullback, and you've bumped him for Blake Taff. I don't get it.
And he's their captain as well. So there you go. I don't know. More to come. I saw that Kyle Feltz stirred some Cowboys fans up because he got named as well. Your mate Chad. So I'm just excited to see that just these teams run out. They even out. If you don't perform in the first couple of weeks, you've got full permission from the coach to get dumped down to reserve grade for a couple of rounds to sort yourself out. So that'll be
Ultimately,
interesting.
you're right. It is round one, and I wouldn't look too much into it if I were fans. But I mean, these are the teams that have been deemed the best 17. So yeah, Teamless Tuesday always throws up some things for the Sharks. Kaeliro wasn't named as expected, which is a bit of a shame. But hopefully that'll come down the line. But mate, moving on to your boys, I put this specifically on knowing you would be here. The Sydney Roosters. How did you rate them in Vegas, and what do you see their season like?
Oh, I thought our good players played pretty good. Joey Manu, Teddy, Victor Radley had big games. And when you notice them, um, special shout out to Terrell May. Had a beast of a game off the bench again. So good signs. Roosters struggle to win a coin toss in round one for most seasons, and the fact that they went over to Vegas and had a good win against last year's grand finals is very encouraging for us Roosters fans, all 20 of us. So there you go. I don't think the Broncos were that bad either, to be honest. One try in it, really. But it was a good game. I thought it was way more entertaining than the first game.
I actually thought the first game was better, but that's purely on there were more points scored, and I'm a point scoring fan. I thought you guys were great. I thought you were probably the. I mean, I know Manly ran away with it late, but I actually think the Roosters were the best performing team across the four. I am worried about what you guys, and I say you guys being the Roosters, are going to do this year because last year I thought you guys were dire. I thought you were awful. You were one tackle away from making a prelim final, which frightens me if that's a bad season. I think you guys will go close.
Mm. Look, one thing I will say, one of my mates mentioned it to me and I agreed with it 100%. I think the referees put the whistle away a little bit in Las Vegas. I think they didn't want to blow as many penalties as they might usually blow. And you beat the Roosters when you get like repeat set after repeat set on them, and then that's how you beat them. And I noticed that the Broncos just didn't really get that chance, and it may be because they were a little bit more lenient because they played in Vegas, or not. Maybe the Roosters were just really, really good. I don't really know.
There you go. I think it's going to be a very good season for the Roosters. It's not often you guys have two bad seasons in a row, and most teams would kill to have a bad season like the Roosters did last year.
Yeah, I do have a question for you though. I don't know if it's on your sheet, but it just came up because I just thought of it then. The blocker penalty on the field goal just on half time. It's on. Is it the end of the field goal forever?
No, but I'm glad to see this rule come in because that exact situation happened 10 times last year, was penalised 5, and the 5 were at random. Now, they're going to look at every single kick and they're going to see that. It's only going to take 1 or 2. That'll be forgotten. Like, I literally forgot that field goal was kicked despite covering it earlier in the day. If that happens in the 79th minute, it is huge news and will be talked about. I personally love that they're doing this, and I want to see that blocker rubbed out of the game right away.
Yeah, same. And it happened in Vegas. Everyone saw it. There are people in Las Vegas that know the rules now, so there's no excuse.
Watch it happen this weekend in the big one. But that's a very good shout, mate. I like it. Please keep the questions coming. The other team that won in Vegas was Manly. Went in as the underdogs. I actually tipped them. I thought they were morals against South, and they did come in late. But what I saw from DCE, Luke Brooks, Croker, Olakawatu, and of course Tommy Turbo. I like what I saw. If they stay fit and they have lost Jason Saab for 6 weeks, which is a real kick in the pants, they could be a problem.
Yeah, Manly are pretty good. If you can score 4 tries in a row and the other team not score a point, then you're going to win most football games. That's what happened in the second half, eh? Like, Souths were up with like 30 minutes ago and then like 4 quick tries and then they were done.
Yep,
So,
South scored 2 in a row, and I thought it was game over. And Manly just spent 20 minutes trying to prove me wrong, which is becoming a real thing with rugby league teams. Wish the Sharks had proved me wrong more than often than not. But mate, I believe Manly are only 1 or 2 injuries away from total chaos, as probably most teams are. But God help us if they stay fit.
Luke Brooks looks like a refreshed, young, zippy player with something to prove.
Certainly does.
They hammed on in the commentary a bit, but I agree with them. It seemed like he didn't have to like do everything. He just like camp over on that left side and just do his thing and pick his moments. So good on him. I thought he had a
Isn't it
good
good?
game.
Isn't it good when a footballer who's been trying to leave for 3 or 4 years finally gets out and has a real good game when he's taken out of the pressure? I think this is going to work for all three. I think it's a great move. But great shout, Manly. Unfortunately, as a Sharks fan, playing very well. Yes, it is only round one, but in terms of round one, they couldn't have done much more.
On the big stage as well. And that's how you start your season off. Just take the 2 points. Come back, have a little bit of a rest. Round 2 starts in a couple of weekends' time for Manly.
And we're back here on the Knock On Podcast, of course, here on zerotackle.com. Make sure to like and subscribe. Spread the word. I've heard nothing but good things in the comments. It's not completely true, but that's the way I'm going to go. Thanks for the support, as always, ladies and gentlemen. Mate, round one continues this week, and it's headlined by an absolute blockbuster on Friday night. The defending champions, the Penrith Panthers, against the Melbourne Storm, who don't lose in round one. Something has to give here. This is the game of the round for me, of the games left, of course. What are your thoughts? Who wins?
I think Penrith win. They're a little bit, I don't know. Do you reckon they're embarrassed that they don't come back with the World Club Challenge again?
Absolutely they are. Yes, they talked a big game.
Ooh. Like, so I think they want to get good again pretty quick. And you do it against Melbourne Storm, Melbourne. All right, you're straight back up there. No more haters. But I don't know, that Melbourne Storm forward pack.
It's not the Melbourne Storm forward pack of the past. I will give you that. Look, Penrith lost round one last year after losing the World Cup Challenge. I can't see them doing it 2 years in a row. I think Melbourne are going to get ambushed here, and I am tipping a pretty significant Penrith win. And I actually tipped Melbourne earlier in the week when I did my tips, but I'm logging in tomorrow at work and changing that because Penrith coming off a big embarrassing loss. I say big, it was a try, but in terms of the occasion, well, they lost the grand final and came back and won 3 premierships straight, mate. So they got a bit to prove, which is scary. I think they win. I think they win well.
Yep, I agree. I'd be worried if I'm a Storm fan. Or not, it's round one. Don't look too far into it, guys. Have fun this weekend, eh?
This is the weekend that doesn't really matter, but you want to get off to a good start, and
You can tell my
Melbourne
team's already won. You can tell my team's already won. Guys, if your team's lose, it's fine. I'm keen. Friday night, let's go.
It's all good. He's got a bit of the pep in the step, mate. Let's crystal ball time. Who for you will be the best signing of the 2024 season? Any team? Take your pick.
Well, I've got a sneak peek of Luke Brooks at Manly, and I like that. See, I aren't no slouches either, especially early in the season. They turn garbage come like at the end of the season when they're like, I'm over this. But they're all right at the start of the season. So, all right. So Luke Brooks is the bar. You've got to be a better signing than that. Let's have a think. Is there a short list? Hit me with a short list.
Jack Whiten comes to mind, former Dalian medalist. He'll play out of position, but he's played plenty of centre, especially for New South Wales.
Yeah, I like it.
For me, you've got Herbie Farnworth, who I maintain is a top 2 centre in the game. I thought Jake Averillo was going to be a big signing, but he starts in Queensland Cup, so maybe I'll have to eat it there. Tom Flegler, of course. Look, Cronulla has signed Billy Burns. You have to put him somewhere up there. That's very much a joke for anyone listening and not watching. Mate, there's some good... there's a Rooster player who we're going to avoid the serious stuff with this one, but on field. I think he'll add a lot to the squad. But moving on quickly, there are
And there's another Rooster that didn't play, Dominic Young. Mate, I was hoping that you'd set me up for Dom Young. I hope that he has a prolific career on that Roosters left wing, the way Daniel Tupu did. So, unfortunately injured for round one. Yeah, Jack Whiten's going to be a bit of a menace over at South, isn't he? I think he's going to be really good. So I'm worried about that.
It's a great shout about Dom Young. I've actually tipped him to be the leading try scorer. It was before he got injured, but I don't think one round's really going to... I would be shocked if... I mean, what did he finish? 1 point, 1 try behind Azarko last year in a terrible Newcastle team, like, until the end of the season. Playing on that Roosters backline, I think you put him down for 20 plus.
Yeah, I think he's going to be really good. But in regards to, like, impact or, like, maybe improvement, I think Luke Brooks is going to have a really, really good season. Yeah, Jack Whiten as well.
I like that. 2 good shouts. Good to see some love for Luke Brooks because we do have made a bit of a career about bagging him, which has been fun. But it's good to see him do good. I'm always happy to see players play well. I don't begrudge anyone, of course.
Yeah, but Manly's got to keep it going, right? Manly's another team that, like, starts off and everyone's like, oh, look out, here they come. Here comes Manly, and then it falls to pieces.
Maintain. They're one injury away from chaos, but we're positive here tonight. This is a positive version. You've already answered this a little bit, but my question to you, mate, because I have thoughts, and I'm going to let you go first, is how important is round one? Obviously, you want to win. It's the same as the trials. Everyone says, trials don't matter when your team loses. But round one, how are you feeling after the win? Would you be upset with the loss? And does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter at all, the result. But I guess as a fan, what you want to see is your team not getting flogged by 30 because there's no excuse for that in round one. The other team also has been sitting around doing nothing for 3 months. So, yeah, as long as your team doesn't get belted in the first round, that's good.
Pretty much what I was going to say. The result of round one is largely forgotten. You'll remember last year the Panthers lost in round one.
Yeah.
And no one cared when they were lifting their 3rd straight title. Cronulla lost in 2016 in round one and won the title. I just know that because I'll never forget those moments.
The Roosters lost to the West Tigers in our round one game in 2018. And that was the first time Teddy played for the Roosters as well. Can you imagine?
See that right there? You play that game 100 times, the Roosters win 98.
They were done. Everyone wrote us off that year after losing to the West Tigers with Teddy and Cooper Cronk.
And it's, mate, well, you lose to the Tigers, that's enough to get written off, to be honest. But look, where I'm going with this, is anyone trying to burn the house down after round one? I definitely wouldn't. I would wait back. South, yeah, they were a little bit disappointing. Brisbane were very disappointing.
30-round season as well, right?
Exactly. It's the longest season in history with all the extra buys and the Vegas game, etc. I wouldn't be too worried. Of course, though, you want to come in off a win because points are always good no matter when you win them. And you're exactly right. You don't want to go out and get belted by 30. My worry, last year was that the Dolphins were going to start bad. They ended up beating your boys. They didn't make the finals, you guys did, so it didn't matter in the end. But round one's important for those teams who are looking for early wins before petering out at the end of the season. Bulldogs, Tigers. But I certainly wouldn't worry too much. And if Cronulla lose round one, as we inevitably do, I'll be upset, but it's not the end of the world. Thanks again for joining us on this week's special edition of the Knock On podcast. Just want to thank my good mate Ron for jumping on at the literal last minute, mate. You saved the show.
Oh, Dan, it's always a pleasure, a privilege, and an honour to be chatting football with you online. So, yeah.
Mate,
and it's a good reason for it as well, because Jerry's having a holiday. Good on him.
Exactly right. Terry, you've given us a holiday. Me, a holiday from you, and I appreciate that. But no, thank you, Ron. Make sure you check out Zero Tackle this week. We've got some great articles coming. That Dan Nichols sure can write, whether good or bad. There's Terry usually asks me what I dropped in during the week. There's a real good Sharks article. I say, with my unbiased opinion, just running down who I think will start in the forward pack next year for Cronulla. Of course, there's a long way to go. We haven't even kicked off yet, but keep an eye out. Terry will be back next week. Thanks again to Ron, and let's get some Rugby League.
Rugby League.